if you could just say, hey, when I get home, I want you to blah, blah, blah. I want you to open my blinds and turn on my lights. And it creates a shortcut that does that. I think that could be very powerful.
Is this vibe coding?
This is vibe coding for if this, then that.
For everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For everybody.
It's essentially, you just tell your phone what you want it to do, and it figures out what you said and makes the Siri shortcut command to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's smart. But first, the great distraction of 2026. Which is that to distract the world from its perhaps slightly lackluster WWDC announcements, Apple is going to rename all of their software operating systems to 26 to match next year's year, 2026. So where we would ordinarily have gotten, I took a screenshot of this to make sure I could remember, where we ordinarily would have gotten iOS 19, iPadOS 19, tvOS 19, macOS 16, watchOS 12, and visionOS 3.
2, I thought.
Instead,
No, 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
instead we will get iOS 26, iPadOS 26, tvOS 26, macOS 26, watchOS 26, and visionOS 26. Thank you, Mark Gurman, for that write-up.
Can I give you a hot take?
Yeah.
I'm like all for this in general, but also I never really understood the car thing. Like, I know that it is.
Oh.
Like,
Like,
how car model years are always just the name of the
yeah,
next
but do
year?
cars always come out at the end of the year?
Yeah.
Kind of.
So to go on that, it's all matching the year, except that this comes out in 2025, but it's because it's like the end of 2025. So I guess the majority year
September
is the default.
It's not really the end of 2025.
But it sounds
way
way more.
closer to the end.
Think about this. It's software. You want to sound futuristic. Imagine using 2025 software in January 2026. It already feels out of date, right?
That's true.
So you might as well just name it 2026 so that all of next year it feels right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I get
Software. Yeah, I think this is fine. It's going to make it easier to remember. When I make my video, I won't accidentally say watchOS 9 or 10 instead of the wrong number. It's just going to be easy. Everything's 26. Cool. This is what Samsung did with their phones not too long ago. I think starting in 2020, we got the Galaxy S20 just to match the year. Cool.
Well, I'm at least still glad that they're putting the place names on the macOS versions at the end. So it should be macOS 26 Tahoe.
Yeah. Is it Lake Tahoe or
my
just Tahoe?
hometown.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to have like a picture of someplace you recognize or
It's a
something?
rattlesnake den.
It's a picture of Chuck Yeager.
Please, no. That's a deep cut, Ellis.
But no, I think what we're actually expecting to see, the main, maybe most exciting thing, if we don't get many in the way of AI updates, is this new visual refresh of iOS, which has, we're expecting glass. We're expecting Vision OS-like, crystal-like, foggy, glass-looking type UI across the board.
Skeuomorphic, realistic,
I think it qualifies as skeuomorphic because it's material design, if you will.
if you will.
It's material. But
By any other name.
Yeah, things will feel transparent and it will change the looks and shapes and aesthetics of the entire OS. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Are they going to do this with the Watch OS too, or is it just the phone?
I imagine it should be everything.
I think it's supposed to be
everything. Mac OS, Watch OS,
Yeah.
tvOS, Vision, everything is going to be classic.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm very curious in how this ends up feeling. But any big difference is kind of nice because the last big update on the iPhone, at least, was iOS 7. So it's kind of cool seeing, a big visual refresh.
Tech just goes in circles, though, doesn't it? Remember Windows 7?
Oh, yeah.
The whole thing was Aero.
Uh-huh.
Which is just glass.
this.
I feel like that's not that
Also,
new.
if you watch any of Microsoft's ads, they all have like that Aero glassy design.
Aero glass, yeah.
So,
I like that they're putting them all more similar together, like the names. Their whole thing is that they're trying to make this easier to switch between everything, which I think Mac for so long has been the iPhone or the Mac is the easier thing to use for like non-tech people. But at the same time, I'm so interested to see what all of our like family thinks about this big update. Because I still know like change is very scary to people who aren't in our world. I know people who still haven't switched to iOS 18 because the gallery change.
yeah.
Oh.
And like
That one's totally fair, though. Like, the new Photos app is dramatically worse.
it is, but like that also means none of them have RCS, which
Oh,
means
yeah.
we did a bad job converting them.
Damn.
But there's someone in our office who hasn't switched because of the gallery.
Oh,
You're not
wow.
And
gonna
I
name
shamed
them?
him the other day.
Oh, you can name them.
Tim.
Tim. Tim. RCS, man. You're missing out.
Yeah, wow.
That's crazy.
It's
yeah.
okay. I message him on Telegram, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
But like, yeah, I'm this is supposed to be easier.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are going to be scared of it outside of our worlds.
Well, we'll see, because I mean, there's a lot of like weird natural elements, and Sebastian DeWitt, who makes Halide and Lux and all this stuff, he did a really good write-up about what he imagines that it will probably end up looking like, and he was mentioning in this write-up that a lot of the stuff that it's probably going to look similar to, Apple's been kind of quietly adding to the iPhone for the last few years. If you'll remember, the shortcuts section of the iPhone on the shortcut button
Oh, yeah.
looks nothing like the rest of the UX.
I talk about that a lot. And it's weird because a lot of other phones have copied that since then. Like the action button looks like they just like bolted on this weird UI that doesn't match the rest of the phone.
Yes.
And then look at OnePlus's like new thing. It looks exactly the same. It just looks totally different from the rest of the phone.
Yeah.
But you're saying this is going to become like...
I think that will sort of set the standard for what a lot of the rest of UI will look like. You've also got things like the dynamic island and how it's sort of like fluid, but also kind of like skeuomorphic in a way, very wavy. It's a very good blog. You should go read it, and we'll see how close it is to the actual announcement.
Yeah, he does some like mock-ups, and they look really nice. I mean, I think it would be a good UI update.
They look so good that I saw people that were reporting on them as leaks, and everyone was like, "These are not leaks."
Oh my gosh.
It was a write-up.
This is one of those things, though, are people going to make these really beautiful like mock-ups, and then we're going to see the real thing and be like, I wish it was the mock-up.
It'll be fun to compare this to Material 3 Expressive, horrible name, but they're very different directions. So it's kind of nice to have two very distinct styles instead of just having all technology that just converges.
True, because there was a while there where everything was like flat white, lots of blank spaces, super minimal.
Like you could not tell the difference between the setting screen of the Pixel and the iPhone for quite a while.
Yeah.
They look the same.
Yeah, so I like that they're diverging a little bit. I do think Material 3 Expressive, despite its horrible name, is actually really nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Just been using it on my Pixel 9, so yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
Well, some other smaller WWDC rumors / predictions.
I wrote some down. You mentioned AI already.
Yeah.
Mark Gurman does not seem to think we're going to get a lot of AI from this one. He says, first of all, he just doesn't think new series ready yet. And he claimed he doesn't think AI will be the headliner, despite Apple needing a comeback.
Very stark contrast to Google I/O. Literally 2 weeks ago, it was like, this will be an hour and a half straight of AI advancements.
Yeah.
Go.
Which is why they did the Android show separately.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And now Apple's going to get on stage and go, new designs, new names.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the future.
It's like what WWDC used to be before they got forced to do a bunch of AI stuff by the investors. And now they're like, we're not ready, so we're just going to go back to what we know. But there have been a few little sprinkles of AI that a lot of rumors have been speculating on. Apparently, the Shortcuts app is set to get Apple Intelligence, which allows you to create shortcuts with natural language, which I think is very cool. Because even though the Shortcuts app is not that used by normal people because it has a very if this then that kind of structure, which for people that haven't taken programming might be a little bit confusing to use. If you could just say, hey, when I get home, I want you to blah, blah, blah. I want you to open my blinds and turn on my lights. And it creates a shortcut that does that. I think that could be very powerful.
Is this vibe coding?
This is vibe coding for if this, then that.
For everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For everybody.
It's essentially, you just tell your phone what you want it to do, and it figures out what you said and makes the Siri shortcut command to do it.
Yeah.
I think that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also had announced last year that Gemini was going to be an option instead of ChatGPT to use on the iPhone when it needed to check stuff.
I would do that.
And I think that this year might be the year where they actually introduce it.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I use Gemini all the time.
Yeah.
Couple other things. Charging estimates on the lock screen.
Revolutionary.
That was something I read. And as a non-iPhone user, I was like, this is the typical, like, wait, it doesn't have that?
Yeah.
I think every phone I've tested for the last decade other than the iPhone has had this.
It's wild.
As soon as you plug it in, it's like, yeah, it'll be 4 hours, 34 minutes before your phone's full. It's like, yeah. And you put it on a slow charger, it tells you a longer time. You put it on a fast charger, you're like, oh, this is better. It'll take less time.
They're not burning that under Apple Intelligence, are they?
I think they might. I hope so. Because that was one of the things I read was they're supposed to be doing battery optimizations using Apple Intelligence.
Yeah,
so this could easily be looped in under this, where it's like, oh, we can tell you how long your phone's going to take to charge.
What if they are just like, we are expanding Apple Intelligence, and they just announce a bunch of stuff that's not using AI at all. And then they're like, forget all the things that we said we were going to announce.
So they can up their we shipped it percentage.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
What do we think? How little do they mention Siri in WWDC? Since it's not new Siri we were supposed to have.
I mean, unless it is ready. It could be ready.
That would be the surprise of DubDub.
They would have to say it is shipping in the developer beta today if they're going to mention it at all.
Do you guys want to bet on an over-under how many times they say Siri?
Could
Bet
you
your
imagine
points, your
a
trivia
DubDub
points.
with no Siri?
I think they'll
Without
say it
saying
once.
Siri
They have to say it. I'm taking the over if it's 1, but I think it's going to be a few. They have to say Siri shortcuts, right? Because shortcuts is a Siri shortcuts.
Oh, is it called Siri shortcuts?
I think so. It's just a shortcuts app, but I think they're called Siri shortcuts.
That's dumb.
So maybe they'll say Siri like 4 times or something.
Ay.
Because they don't. The thing that we're hoping happened is they learned their lesson a little bit.
Yeah.
And they won't go announcing a bunch of features that aren't ready and might not ship for months/years.
Yeah.
But that also means that there's probably way less for them to talk about because a lot of the stuff they're working on is not ready and won't be for months/years. So if they're going to talk about Siri, which last time they said they were having this huge update for,
Yeah.
it better be ready.
Yeah.
I feel like.
It is funny. Apple, I think, needs to... They worry so much more about when they ship something, it working flawlessly, continuously, like most of the time. Because all of these other AI companies, you know, they'll show a demo, and it'll work in the demo, or it doesn't work in the demo, like Google's done. And then they actually ship it, and it basically doesn't work, and it's like unusable.
Yeah.
But Apple, I don't think that they want to do that because they're just afraid of all the bad press they're going to get.
Yeah.
So.
And on top of it, it sounds like not only was it not perfect, it sounds like it wasn't even remotely close
not even
and
remotely
so
close.
messed up that they couldn't even fix it.
Yeah.
So they're in a rough spot with
I feel like there was some engineer at Apple that was just so terrified to like tell their manager that they weren't done with their project yet, and they're just like, "Oh, it's too late at this point."
Hey, your thing's in the presentation. It's good to go, right? Yeah. It's ready.
And then he takes a flight somewhere and never comes back. Yeah.
So my favorite rumor was Mark Gurman said they might be bringing live translation to AirPods, which I think Ellis has somehow created 2025 as the year of live translation
Again.
through like finally snapping at the end
You're
of last
welcome,
year.
Silicon Valley investors.
Finally
I
happening.
did this for you.
Yeah.
So that sounds like you would be wearing AirPods. At least one person's wearing AirPods,
Yes.
and you speak your language. They can't understand you, but if they speak,
If I'm wearing them, you speak to me in Spanish. It
Yeah.
sends that to my iPhone. My iPhone translates it and
Sure.
then plays it out of the iPhone, I think is what Mark Gurman said.
Which, by the way, if that's the case, why don't you just do it from the phone? I've always done this where you have Google Translate. You can just speak into it in your language. It comes out in the other language and it goes back and forth. What's the big deal with it being on the headphone?
totally true. But just think about you saw her, right? Think
No
think about the. I said this last episode. I said this last
Have
episode.
you seen her, Marques?
Yes, but the platonic ideal of AI live translation is humans just walk around speaking their language and everyone understands them and you understand everyone. So I don't want to have a device out. I don't want to have to whatever. I just got this little ear pod in my ear and boom, I have the superpower.
But you do because it plays. It has to play out the iPhone.
well, if I want to talk back to
Oh,
them.
I guess if you want to.
Yeah. So you either are
Hello,
both
just
wearing
speak to me.
AirPods, in which case
is
you can,
Apple's perfect
that's
world.
the Apple perfect
Yeah.
world magic moment. Matter of fact, they might have a commercial
Well-
or some ad where both people are wearing AirPods doing live translation to each other, speaking totally different languages and understanding each other. Because that's the visual they want,
I hate this.
which is like a magic. I don't know what language you're speaking, but I understand you, the human.
Yeah.
They want that moment.
It's just so rare that you're going to be hearing another language where you don't need to communicate back.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is funny, and maybe I'm misunderstanding this, but this is a rumor, so I don't even know. But like you said, if the phone is out, you just speak into the phone and turn it, and it speaks back. In this scenario, you speak back to me in another language into my phone, and then I listen to it on a delay. But you just watch me sit there like
I know.
don't hear if it's talking or
kinda
know when
worse.
it's done. Yeah,
Because I don't get the audio cue that he's actually listening
Yeah.
to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just listening to Creed in my headphones
Maybe-
while you're talking to my phone.
Maybe one person has the AirPods with the live translation, and the other person is like, let's say I'm so here's the situation this is going to work, right?
All right.
I'm a tourist. I go to a country that people speak a different language. I have the AirPods in.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I have my AirPods because when I walk up to someone and go, hey, where is this street? They have no idea what I said.
Right.
Never mind. That doesn't okay. They have something to tell me, but I don't have anything to say to them. That's when it works. So they walk up to me and say something, and I go, I understand, and then I walk away. That's it. That's what you get. Because I can't communicate
Hello,
back.
it is
unless
me,
I take my
tourist.
phone out.
Please ask me a question
The
about
most-
my city.
The most magical technology can be amazing moment I ever had was when I was in like the remote mountains of Japan, and the taxi driver had no idea where to take me, and I was able to just speak into my phone, and it came out in Japanese, and he spoke back in, and it came out in English.
Yeah.
That helped him understand that we were
That
having
it was
communication.
happening. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Now you can lean over and put your AirPods in his
I was gonna
ears.
say- I was gonna say- no, the better scenario. The better scenario is you take one of your waxy earbuds out of your ear and you stick it in the stranger's ear.
No. Oh no. That cannot be the ad.
I
though.
just,
that can't be.
I really wonder how they, because the original Pixel Buds had this, the ones with the wire.
Yes.
Tried to have this.
Well, yeah, but it was practically the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Unless Apple is actually able to do something special some scenario that we're not thinking of.
I can't wait to see this. I feel like we're either missing something or this is
think
going to
that-
be so funny.
Yeah, I think the ad has to be I have my AirPods in and also I have my phone out to read something in a different language. to
Yeah.
you. So I go to a place, nobody speaks the same language as me. I say it to my phone, they hear something, they reply back, and I just hear it in my earbuds.
Yeah.
And then that's how we're talking.
But that sucks.
Which is not as good because they're not really fully seeing that I'm
Right.
hearing what they're saying.
Right.
I just want to say, if we get to Dub and we see this commercial and at the end, little text at the bottom of the screen says coming 2026, I am going to laugh so hard.
Well, according to the OS number, it's already 2026.
Coming in iOS 2026. How about that?
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Got him.
Got him. Okay. Some other existing app features that may be updated according to Mac rumors. Messages may get automatic translations and support for calls, which I don't really know what support for calls means, like VoIP, but you can already do that via FaceTime, so I'm not really sure. FaceTime audio. I don't know. Maybe they'll change FaceTime audio to not be called FaceTime audio because that already is a horrible name. Music may get full screen animated lock screen art. Cool.
Yeah, that's like a Android-y thing.
Yeah.
Been
Yeah,
around for a
exactly.
while.
Exactly. Apple Notes may get Markdown support, which is a lot of years in the running here.
Let's go.
Also, a very nice one. You may only need to log into a captive Wi-Fi portal once, and all of your devices will already be logged in. So you know how when you like go on your computer and you're at a hotel Wi-Fi and it's like enter your room key number and all that, and you have to do it on every single device you have. You have to do it on your phone and your laptop. Apparently, you only have to do it on one device.
Would this work on airplanes where they want you to only be online with one device at a time?
Doubt it, because you wouldn't even get. Well, I don't know.
What I'm on,
Because an airplane, you're
It's
paying-
account based on the airplane though, and it knows how
Yeah.
many devices you're on.
Oh, I just figured it was all the portals.
It might be. It might. I don't know. It's a good question. Also, there is apparently going to be a lot of big Apple Home updates. So there is this rumor that they may actually finally announce the HomePad, which is sort of just, I don't know if that's actually going to be the name,
with the screen.
but it's basically the HomePod with the screen, which is their response to the Nest Hub Mini that launched a bazillion years ago.
But twice the price, maybe.
Yeah, but at least twice the price. I mean, but this potentially could be the robotic one that they were talking about, because remember they were working on one with a robotic arm that would like turn and move with you,
Yeah.
which would be quite cool.
I just don't see them ever doing that.
It does seem not very Apple-like to me.
It's like the least Apple-like sounding product I've
Yeah.
ever heard.
They would use software. They'd be like, our continuity camera is 2 millimeter, has a 2 millimeter focal length, and it just zooms in on anywhere in your home.
Can I tell a funny HomePad story that I realize I've never told on the podcast before?
Oh wow, sure.
So I have this family friend who is a home automation consultant professionally. Like if
wow.
you are really rich and have a giant home and want it automated throughout the entire thing, you call him and he like will make sure it's set up properly.
That's a
for you.
great job.
And I was in his really beautiful home one time, and there was this amazing, like he obviously had set it up for himself too. And he had this beautiful screen in the wall, and it was this software that I think he had wrote himself to like control all of his own things. And what was so beautiful was that the screen was completely bezel-less. It was just like wall to pixel. And it had the most perfect sort of like bulge. Like it was sort of like rounded and just barely protruding out of the wall in this like really beautiful way. And I was like, where did you find this beautiful display.
It's an iPad.
He was like, oh, bro, that's a second generation iPad and the battery's just swelling really bad.
oh, beautiful bulge.
Oh,
He's like, I just mounted it in the wall really well.
Dang.
nice. Oh yeah, putting iPads in walls.
Putting a bulging
Yeah.
battery in your wall is...
That's
Not very smart.
Don't do that at home. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure he had it figured out. You know, he's a really smart guy. But yeah, that was a funny... Anyway, yes.
Yeah, 9to5 Mac was like, this may happen, and the only reason it may happen is that they are planning a pretty big refresh of the home system, and so it would be nice to have hardware that actually like runs
would.
Apple Home, because they don't really have dedicated Apple Home hardware right now.
I think Mark Gurman was pretty strong on saying he didn't think any hardware was going to be here, but I don't even use any Apple Home stuff, but like an iMac G4 as the HomePad with that like rotating arm would be the sickest thing ever.
There are a lot. Remember we used to shoot in breathers or like random studios? Like there's a lot of iPads on walls.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they just wanted to make a dedicated product that was super premium and designed for that environment, they could do something cool.
Easily. Yeah, I mean, everybody has been making third-party software to basically control your Apple Home anyway. So it would be smart of them to Sherlock everybody else like they always do.
Home OS 26.
Home OS. Also, they could just move forward a bunch of projects that are like kind of ready just because Apple Intelligence is still not ready.
I was gonna say that's what most of this feels like.
Yeah.
This feels like everyone else who's got something going on, we're shipping it this
Can we
year
ship it? Can
because
you
the
move-
AI thing isn't here yet.
Can we move that up by 6 months, please?
Yeah. So no, we'll see. This is going to be next week. So if you're listening to this on Friday, literally in a 3-day span, we'll be listening to them on stage on Monday, hearing what they have to say.
Which is crazy.
It's happening quick. It's
and
already
then
June.
the last thing we talked about it last week, but just the dedicated Apple gaming app that replaces the Game Center.
Games. You got games on your phone?
I got games on my phone. The Latro, not Gameling.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. Later this week, we're going to have our episode where we cover everything that went down at WW 2025. So if you're not subscribed, you're going to miss it. So make sure to hit that button, ring that bell, like this video. Call your mom.
Do it.
Subscribe.
Call your dad.
Subscribe.
Volunteer your time.
Subscribe.
Vote in your local elections.
True.
And most importantly, make sure to watch this.
Shut up, Buzz!
All right. See you guys later.